Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we're talking about deku was a animatronic. So we left in the last video that, deku, getting ready for the sports festival, but not going into the sports festival to participate in it, mostly because Izuku looks like that. It's mostly because they're going to be watching it until the last part of the sports festival, being the one-on-one battles, where Izuku participated in it, and Izuku defeated both of his, opponents, and was getting ready to fight his last opponent, being Vanny. But Vanny reveals herself as a leader of the cult that worships Springtrap, aka William Afton. And she wants Izuku for special reasons. And so we ended up that video in that cliffhanger. So, because of that, we're now going to be starting off the video. And so, let's talk about what happens next. So, all of these people, mostly being controlled by the AI, aka William Afton, which Vanny says this: "Now, we want you, Izuku, and that remnant flowing through your metal body." As Izuku just says this, what do you mean by that? As she says this, "That metal body, the animatronic one, the one that you usually use to give yourself an extra punch in battle." As Izuku just says this, "I don't know what you're talking about." As she says this, "Oh, please don't lie. Come on, please be honest. Just let us keep it, and we won't hurt your little friends." As Izuku just says this, "You make me sick. You people work for William Afton, the one that killed me." As everybody realizes who he is, the kid from that news, apparently back when Izuku first revealed himself to the public, when he killed many of those people, but some of them survived and lived to tell the tale. So, everybody's excited to see what Izuku's going to do, as Izuku just says this: "Hey, Aizawa, give me my animatronic body. I want to tear her apart." As he says this, "Very well, Izuku. Just have it." So, Izuku was brought his animatronic suit, as Izuku goes inside of it. As Izuku goes on a rampaging state, killing all of these followers of William Afton. Even though they're innocent civilians, they're still being controlled by, the AI, aka William Afton. So, after killing all of those people, many of the, audience started leaving because they didn't want to, get killed in the process. But for Vanny, she says this. So, he actually defeated the rest of the followers. Oh well, I guess I can bring in a special creation of mine. As she snaps her fingers, as a little, animatronic appears. This animatronic was a clown-like woman with a speaker on the chest, with two yellow pigtails. It seems to be a resemblance to a blonde woman, as it screams out, "Time for you to die," as it starts charging towards Izuku at immense speed, as Izuku's animatronic body was taken apart pretty easily. And because of that, Izuku has to go into his more spiritual form. Spiritual form. As Izuku just says this, What the heck is that thing?" As she says this, "Oh, this thing? It's actually made from some specific parts from a certain location. You might have heard of it. Circus Pizza World. Apparently, it's also changed its name to Babies, Pizzas, and Rentals. But we decided to take it. Wait for a second. But I decided, and also for Master, to tear it all down and use the rest of its parts to create these creations. I call them my gremlins, as she smiles under the mask, as she says this. Now, my gremlins, destroy him and get those parts. I want our master to be reborn. I want him to feel amazing. I want him to live again. I want him to cause this world and fall in this world. I want this to fall into despair. Oh, lovely despair. As Izuku just thought in his mind that they're insane. As she says this, get Izuku, get him now. As Izuku was basically dragged, Izuku starts getting slashed at by these little animatronic gremlins. Izuku starts kicking them away, but these animatronic gremlins start coming towards, well, his animatronic body. So, Izuku starts carrying it away and puts it somewhere safe. As for the rest of the heroes, they start dealing with the... Wait for a second. They're going to get ready to deal with these animatronic gremlins. As for All Might, he starts coming towards Vanny, as Vanny says this. Oh, you must be All Might, right? As he says this. All Might a smash! As she says this. As she throws a knife at his arm, slicing it a little bit, grazing his arm as he says this. Duh, that was your only weapon. Wait for a second. Isn't that correct? As she says this. Oh, don't worry. I have many more. As she brings out several more knives from her pocket. As All Might, says this. This little monster. As he says this. Detroit Smash! As he creates a smash that causes a big shockwave. As for Vanny, she disappears and then reappears right behind him as he says this in his mind. Does she have a teleportation quirk? As he back as she says this. Aw, it won't be so fun for you to just run away like that. Well then, guess I'll be more fun then. Not Izuku, I meant Vanny, starts bringing out more knives and starts throwing at them at All Might. All Might gets slashed a little bit, as she says this. Come forth, my little gremlins, and have some fun with Mr. All Might. As for me, she starts looking towards Izuku. Izuku decides to go and get some of his weapons. As in weapons, I mean his friends, and also his axe. As Izuku calls upon them, these these spider-like beings with, like, puppet-like faces started coming out of their, crates. As Izuku comes out and sees Vanny, Vanny is wielding her knife, as she says this. Oh, you're using an axe. You're using an axe, right? How cute. My knives are much more sharper than yours. As Izuku just says this. Is that a fact? As she just laughs and just says this. Oh, it really is a fact. As Izuku just says this. Well then, I'll be beating you down and turning you into mashed potatoes. As she says this. Oh, a bit cocky, eh? I'll do this for him, for my master. I'll do whatever he wants. I'll even kill myself. As Izuku just says this. She's beyond insane. As Izuku starts charging towards her with his axe in hand. While Izuku was fighting Vanny, the rest of the heroes start dealing with the gremlins. As for Aizawa starts using his cloth, like scarf, and starts throwing them away. But they were too many and you know, wait for a second, too immense. Because of this, he can't handle all of these creatures all at once, as the rest of the heroes arrive, being Hawks and another hero being Mount Lady. Mount Lady starts squashing all of these gremlins. As for Hawks, he starts using his feathers as swords and starts slicing them all in half. While for Aizawa, he starts using his scarf and his, fighting style, or, hand-to-hand combat, to basically destroy them. As for Vanny and Izuku starts slashing at her, but she keeps using her knife to start, how do I say it? Block Izuku's attacks. As she says this, using a big and large weapon is quite annoying. She starts, heavily breathing as Izuku just says this. I think I just realized what your actual intentions are. As she says this. Come again? As Izuku just says this. You're just distracting me and the rest of the heroes, right? As she says this. Oh, I didn't know that you actually figured that out. As Izuku just says this. Yeah, all the fighting that you did was not really that deadly. And that's why I think you're just playing around. The reason why you're here is to distract us. As she says this. You are correct. The reason why we're distracting you and fighting you is because we're just gonna be buying time. As Izuku just says this. Buying time for what? As she says this. Oh, isn't it obvious? Getting the rest of these machines. The machines from the support, station, or was it the support class? Can't remember. It's too boring. But with that support gear, we can make a better machine, a greater machine, a machine befitting of our master William Afton. As Izuku just says this, you damn freak. As she says this, you really called me a freak, but you're the same as me. As Izuku just says this, as you. As she says this, yes, we're basically the same thing, but with different backgrounds and a different situation of where we became. So, can I ask you a question, Mr. Izuku Midoriya? As Izuku just says this. What? As she says this. How did it feel to die? As Izuku just says this. Duh. As Izuku thought in his mind, I mean, dying was painful. Seeing myself just dying there just feels painful. As Izuku just speaks up, why the hell are you telling me this? As she says, I thought it was interesting that you, Izuku Midoriya, a kid, in fact, a kid that was killed by my master, was so vengeful. I can feel that rage, that resentment, that touch, the touch that makes all these other animatronics with human souls react. As Izuku just says this. Then what is that touch you mean? As she says this. A kidly, almost childlike wonder. Your childlike wonder was the final touch to turn you into an animatronic. But not only that, a monstrous and rageful self also seeps in your body that is stuck, wanting to destroy and cause chaos. And I love it. Come on, just let loose. Just let your monster self be awoken. Just like me. Like how my eyes were opened, thanks to our great and powerful leader, William Afton. As Ezekiel just says this, you disgust me. As Ezekiel grabs his axe, as Ezekiel slices the head off Vanny. When Ezekiel did, like a pool of blood appears. But the blood was also pretty weird as well. Ezekiel sees several different types of things. They look like worms. As a large looking tentacle appears out of the wait for a second, comes out of where the head of Vanny used to be, as it grabs the head of Vanny and reattaches it. As Ezekiel just says this, what in the hell? As she says this, oh, you really think that you can actually kill me? William Afton upgraded my body. He is, after all, an AI now. As Ezekiel just says this, come again. As she says this, he, or should I say the company, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and Entertainment, but not only that, a certain video game, I can't remember his name, but he did create a game similar to us. A story of how William Afton, our great leader, came to be, and the legends surrounding their pizzerias. With monsters, animatronics with human souls, souls of children wanting revenge. But when he tried to make a VR game, a piece of hardware that contains the soul of William Afton was placed. And when it activated, let's just say hell broke loose at that company. Animatronics there get revived and transformed into his minions, becoming vessels of his. But they couldn't maintain the body, so he put his consciousness in a certain computer, which I'm not telling you where it is. And because of this, our great leader is still alive. And he gave me this power, the power of a god. As Ezekiel just says this, you disgust me. As she says this, disgust you? Oh, I get that a lot. Anyway, do you really think that you can beat me? But Ezekiel just says this. Yeah, I can't beat you. But they can. As Ezekiel points at a... Wait for a second. Points at something. As she gets punched in the face. As she says this. Who the hell was that? As the looming monster, whatever that thing is, appears. As it's a gigantic robot. As Mei Hatsume is talking through the speakers of that robot and says this. Hey Ezekiel, it actually worked! So, let's take down this villain. As Ezekiel just says this. Not bad. So, let me explain what actually that thing is. Like, what is that thing? So, that mech suit was actually made during the time when Ezekiel was, talking with Mei Hatsume. But also, they were planning on making this machine, or this mech suit, to help All Might and also some other heroes to do safer heroic missions. But they couldn't advertise it because during that time, she kind of lost the cavalry battle after that. So she decided to keep that in storage for now, but when she saw the commotion that's happening right now, she wanted to help. So Ezekiel called upon her help to basically bring that thing and destroy Vanny. As Vanny says this, "What? Do you made a mech?" As Izuku just says this, "Yeah, it was a lot of resources, but after we finished it, I think we made a recently more powerful machine, but it's still in work in progress. But this prototype would be a great help for beating your ass." As the gigantic, mech starts, transforming, as the mech's arm transforms into a cannon, as it shoots out several bombs, as Vanny gets exploded multiple times. And by the way, this is actually a headcanon in my opinion, a headcanon in my universe, or at least my perspective on like the FNAF universe, that fire is good against like animatronics that are possessed by children or anything that has remnant. Mostly because of the books and many other things, that's how they distract the remnant out of like several different animatronics. And also during the ending sequence in like FNAF 6 or Pizzeria Simulator, they burned the entire like restaurant down with the rest of the evil animatronics that are still alive. So this is my headcanon that any animatronic that's near fire or are getting burned are basically susceptible to like getting destroyed and being set free. But I know all of you are asking, but how about William Afton during FNAF? Let's just say that he's like, an exception because of his whole like I always come back thing. Anyway, when she gets exploded by the fire, she starts feeling lots and lots of damage. As she says this, "Fire, god dang it." As Izuku just says this, "So, are you afraid now?" As she says this, "Get, you little brat." As she starts bringing out these knives and gets ready to kill Izuku, but Izuku just permeates through her as she says this, "God damn it." As Izuku just says this, "Take this, what's your name again? Vanny? Anyway, take this." As Izuku brings his axe and tells, wait for a second, and tells Mei to throw a fireball at it, as it makes a flaming axe, as Izuku stabs it or slashes it in the chest of Vanny, as Vanny is screaming in pain. So, while she was screaming in pain, the rest of the heroes finally defeated the rest of these gremlins, or animatronic gremlins. As for Vanny, Vanny was screaming for help, as she sees a portal, including Izuku and Mei Hatsumi, and that portal was purple, and also seems a bit glitchy, as they see several people that have like rabbit-like masks and has like they have like the usual like purple eyes, as they bring Vanny back to their lair, as Vanny says this, "It isn't over. I'll come back and kill you. I'm gonna make my master proud. I'll be back." So, so, that's the end of that little battle between Izuku and the Springtrap cult. So, after that day, many people realized that a cult is in Japan, and this one is a really dangerous cult. So, many news articles and, many things relating to this incident have been published. Because of this, the heroes decide to postpone the whole wait for a second, the entering the internships yet, and also naming their heroes. So yeah, this is not going to be the end of the episode yet, because I want all of you to do this for me, because God dang it! All of you didn't like commented on this like episode or the last episode because I told all of you guys to pick like hero names for Izuku and the other what ifs relating to Izuku, like this post over here. I told all of you guys, and I mean all of you guys, about last episode, even though we didn't get many views about like last episode. But I told all of you guys to pick a name or hero names for each of the three what ifs that I made, being Mercenary, Grim Reaper, and Animatronic. So, please, for the love of God, please just pick a hero name. I mean, I'm kind of good at making hero names, but I want all of you because I want to like interact with you, my community. I want all of you to pick hero names because all of the hero names that you suggested, like all of those years ago, not really years, more like a year, and also several months ago, were amazing. And I want all of you to like pick hero names for me because all of the name suggestions were amazing and also pretty cool. So, please just do it for me, guys. I mean, I love all of your suggestions, especially all of the comments you made about like every video that I made. So, please comment down below in this post right here on my community tab and just pick hero names for each of the what ifs. Okay? Mercenary, Grim Reaper, and Animatronic. Okay? Good. And so, this will be the end of this episode. And so, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and also like. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!